It's full time at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 2. I'm not quite sure where to start with this one. I think just jumping forward to that second half show, and it was probably the worst I've seen from Arsenal for a long time. They just seem to simply run out of gas. That sort of end of season flurry that we were hopefully going to get, taking momentum from the Real Madrid game and being in the Champions League semi-final it's in a way it's cost us really, because yes, we had a really good result at Ipswich a couple of weeks ago, and that was a team which were effectively relegated at the time as good as, and since have been. There was the Palace game, which again Arsenal should have won, could have quite easily lost, but should have won that game. And today it was another indictment of how the squad has been built over this last year or so, and I think it does run back to last summer. It goes back to last summer where the investment wasn't made to strengthen the forward line, and we've seen Arsenal drop numerous points this season from winning positions, or not make the most from the opportunities that they've been given because of the fact they haven't strengthened in those positions. And yes, we've had a very difficult season with injuries and suspensions, and Mikel talked about that in his pre-match press conference yesterday. But domestically, this is really starting to come back to bite us, and it's difficult to take any positive from a result like that. In all fairness, I think the one positive you can take is the fact that Declan Rice looks like a machine, a well-oiled machine once again, and he is. He's a brilliant footballer and an absolute leader, and he's powerful, and he's got everything going for him which you want in that type of player. Martin Odegaard got the assist, obviously, which is good to see. Just going back to the first goal, the opener. Odegaard picks it up just outside the box, outside the D, and rolls it into Rice, who rounds Kepa and knocks it into an empty net. I have to say though, despite Odegaard's contribution to that goal, I thought it was another very underwhelming performance from a player who we really need to step up on these occasions. We've seen him do it before, and I think the expectations have been raised so much, and the level that we expect from him has just not been reached for a very, very long time now. I was in Milan when he came back for that game after having the Champions League loss to Inter at the San Siro, when he had a long injury layoff. And I was at Chelsea about a few days later in the 1-1 draw, and he looked majestic at times. But since then, we haven't seen the best from him, and I'm starting to wonder now whether it's not going to happen on Wednesday. But I'm starting to wonder whether we need to start planning for situations where we don't have to rely entirely on him. I know he's our captain. I know he's our only real senior creative attacking midfielder. I had to reference both Rice and Marino in that conversation, but I'm not sure that's exactly what everyone wants to hear at this point in time, considering Odegaard's form. And then second half, Bournemouth get their equaliser. Very strange one. Saliba does brilliantly to close down Semenyo, to knock it out for a throw-in. And from the resulting throw-in, Semenyo launches it into the box, and somehow Rice gets nowhere near it. You just don't expect that from him defensively at all. Which is a shame, because it's a real kick in the teeth at that point. It's I think it was like 60-something minutes. And then, not long later, 8 minutes later, they get the winner, and it's a lengthy VAR check. Now, I think this comes off his arm. I've got obviously the benefit of the press box of looking at it from these small tellies. I think it comes off his arm. I've seen a lot of people saying that as well. How they've given that goal, I'm not too sure. It looks quite clearly to come off his tricep, which is beyond belief. It's just typical of this season, really. So And that was that. That was that. And Arsenal didn't really threaten after that. Didn't probe. So it is what it is. But I'm not going to sit here and bemoan officials. Today it was another very underwhelming performance from Arsenal, particularly in that second half, and everything. I mean, it already was. Everything is riding on Wednesday now. With Man City winning last night, there's an even bigger onus on Arsenal to consolidate this second place position. What we don't want is Man City winning the FA Cup and Arsenal walking away with nothing and finishing behind them in the league. It's been quite an underwhelming end to the season. Obviously, it does entirely rely on Wednesday now. Everything is on Wednesday, as it already was, but that was further ratified by the performance today. I'll leave it there, but on to Paris.